Hello, welcome back. Today I want to do another art critique of expensive Etsy listings. I had a lot of fun with the last one and would love to do it again. So without further ado, let's get into it. But first, a quick disclaimer. All right, here we are on Etsy. So this week I feel like we're going to look at some eclectic wall art. Because I love eclectic things. And then filters. Minimum price, 20,000. 1,000 plus items. Let's see where we're at. Oh, there's one we already looked at. Flower of Life. And as always, I will not be clicking any ads. Oh, here's a familiar one, the metal part. But this one I want to look at. Alright, so this is a portrait, and they want $43,000. Is this an original? Mixed media acrylic paint on canvas. So, who is this even of? This one's just interesting. I don't have a ton of commentary on it, but let's see if we can open up the photo. Oh, we can zoom. So this looks like a portrait of someone, and I don't know who it is. So, who knows? It is not the greatest, I will be honest there. It's probably better than I could do, in all honesty. I am not great at portraits whatsoever. But, this is, again, basic, straightforward. It looks like it was... Oh, that's interesting, how the glasses are... mixed media. So the glasses are actual, material for that. That's cool. It's a very flat texture, and I personally don't believe that this is worth the price. But overall, it's up there. Honestly, this would probably belong in r/delusional artist. Let's see. Item details. There's very little information on this one. My advice would be continue painting portraits and just go from there. Work on your proportions, because the hat is huge compared to the head. And it looks like it's like a baseball hat, but the brim is pulled up. It's weird. It's really weird. The proportions and the consistency throughout it. It looks like it might be a self-portrait based on the fact that the carpet kind of matches the background of the painting. Overall, very interesting find. All right, let's continue on our eclectic artwork journey. Alright. Let's take a look at this one. So this one is interesting. One, hands are hard to paint, so I will give them credit. Those are pretty decent hands. And the background is quite nice. I think if they worked on the rose doesn't look quite centered, and maybe contrast it with the background a little more, not just some shadowing. That would definitely help improve this. This, I can see it fitting in someone's house and actually selling it maybe at a craft show. And it describes the artwork, but the description describes the artwork, but it doesn't really have any keywords. It is interesting. This piece, I can see it maybe at an art show, or like a local art show or a local craft fair. I do not think it is worth $28,000 on Etsy. The composition is interesting, the way the stars flow from one hand to the other. it is really unique and interesting. I will give it that. I like the concept, but I think with a little more practice and technical application, this could be a really cool painting. But it's just the skill level of the artist is not quite where the price point is, which is, you know, typical of what this is going to be. All right. Now this one, I like this one. This is large modern wall art. 72 inches? Is 2 dashes inches? It wouldn't be 72 feet. It's gotta be inches. Is this print? This is cool, honestly. This is a really cool piece. Yeah, and it fits huge space. I like the, how am I gonna put this? I like the fact that there is some dark spots, the light spots, the color is interesting. It flows and clashes against itself in a really unique and interesting way. I like how it is. I can, if this is an original piece, I want to know why it says there are 4 left in cart. Because if it's an original, you can't recreate exact copies of it. But if it's a print, then it is a copy. So that's confusing me a little bit. If it was an original painting this size and the artist had a good name behind them, I can see the price tag here. But if it is a print, maybe if the artist is like crazy famous, like I know Banksy's prints are quite pricey, and Banksy originals are even crazier pricey. But unless you're like that level of fame, a print at most maybe a couple hundred, depending on the material and all that stuff. But overall, I think this is a very interesting piece, and I like the color, the contrast, and the just texture of it. This is the kind of abstract art I strive to paint. All right, let's keep going. Got water on my face. All right, let's look at this one. Graffiti, one-of-a-kind artwork, contemporary art, and then they give a name. I don't know this artist, but it's a good-sized painting. And let's go back to the main view of it. Zoom in and enhance. So I do like the graffiti art style and the fact that they did this on a canvas rather than on a wall in a city. I appreciate that. It got some, like, it gives some 90s aesthetic from like those old movie theater carpets on some of the detailing here. It's really interesting with the texture wise. I don't know if this was done with a paintbrush or if they actually use spray paint. This is really cool, but I don't know if it's quite worth the $20,000 price point. If the artist's name is that far, like if the artist's name is that big and that good and they're actually really well known, like they're a really well known graffiti artist, that might be a reasonable price point, but I don't recognize the name. I am not super in tune with the art world. No, I don't know all the big names, so I can't say that for sure, but otherwise, interesting piece. So I like Googling eclectic. You never know what you're gonna see. And then let's look at this one, because this one's not an ad. I'm always like double checking before I click, making sure it's not an ad. Who are they? I'm sorry. This listing photo, It's not very good. Is this like an Illuminati poster? This is interesting. It's got an interesting texture and I like the concept. But the canvas is tiny. Most of the time I can see them justifying a big price point if the canvas is bigger, because big canvases can be quite pricey to get, and then you have to like prime it with gesso, and then you have to apply the medium. So I understand bigger canvases do have a higher price point attached to them. This this listing photo looks like you can see the artist's feet in this photo, the way they took the picture. And there's only 2 listing photos. I'd recommend getting some more in the context. For the right price, I think they could sell it. I would probably recommend a craft show or art fair, and it looks like they did a combination of pen, paint, and marker. It's very, very messy, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think for this one, they were going for a bold 3D kind of effect. So if they cleaned it up and made it nice and crisp, this would be a good example of where paint pens might be useful. Overall, it's interesting, and I would like to know who they are. Thank you. On to the next one. Is this marble? Oh my god. Wow. Jeez, how did they? What are you doing here, dude? What are you doing on Etsy? This is incredible. If this is actual marble, what are you doing on Etsy and not going into like fine art museums? Seriously, dude, know your audience. This is impressive. 1, they sculpted hands, which hands are notoriously difficult. My hands look like someone strapped drunk jellyfish to someone's arms. And 2, they didn't just sculpt them, they carved them out of stone. I've never carved stone, but I can't imagine it being easy. I'm honestly impressed. This is why I like doing this, where you go into Etsy and look at expensive Etsy listings, because you see both ends of the spectrum. You see incredible pieces like this where they're beautifully hand-carved marble and the price point makes a lot of sense, and you just have to question, what are they doing on Etsy? Because this belongs in an art gallery for sale to a bunch of rich, fine art people, like art collectors. Not on a local crafting webpage. And then you get the ones where it's like, dude, you just heard people can make money through Etsy and you're trying to make a ludicrous amount of money. And we've seen both of those thus far. All right, let's keep looking. Awesome. Honestly, if this is yours, good job, keep it up. Dude, just get into galleries, honestly. I'm scanning until something catches my eye. Oh, hello. Is this I'm sorry, but the faces on the bottom, they look kind of like Mr. Meeseeks from Rick and Morty, crossed with the M&Ms. This is honestly something I would see on the wall in a haunted house. Or in a really terrible daycare. Just being brutally honest. Now, this is all my opinions. This is a very interesting piece. Now, This person, I like to make something strange art, something unusual and weird. This is unusual and weird, I will give you that. And the textures are good, the colors really pop. But man, I just don't understand. Like, my brain keeps wanting to put a cigar in the clown's mouth. Like, I know it's not actually there, but my brain keeps putting it there. This is a piece, all right. If they sold prints of this, I would consider buying it just for the simple shock factor. I'd probably end up hanging it, like hiding it in someone's house in the middle of the night kind of thing. But this is an interesting piece. In the different context. It's not terrible, but man, I was not expecting scary clown painting to be in eclectic art. I was thinking more like a peacock sitting in a pool ring drinking a margarita kind of thing. Yeah, eclectic. But it's just eclectic as people are interested in a bunch of random things and they put it all together. I guess this would fit in that if you found the right person. All right, let's keep going. I want to keep going. This is fun. I'm really enjoying myself. It says Salvador Dali. Is this an actual Salvador Dali painting, or is this like in the style of? I mean, I like it. I love lobsters, and it definitely has that surrealist image. I'm Googling this. Huh. Okay, not what I was expecting, but apparently, is this like a Salvador Dali? I need to look more into this. I will look more into this later. Fascinating. So is this like a painting or a drawing based off a sculpture that Salvador Dali did? Because that is interesting. And it's always good to get inspired by other artists' work. I do it all the time. I go on Pinterest and look for ideas of other people doodling and then like take aspects I like or just make art based off of what I like. And the lobster phone is definitely interesting. I can see that. This might actually, it's marked as vintage. Huh. Oh, this actually might be a valuable vintage piece of artwork. So here I am critiquing an actual rare piece of art. I don't know why you would sell this on Etsy. If this is the genuine article of a rare piece of art, I would go to an auction. Like, I'd sell it in an art exhibition, like, where people would actually like and understand this. If it was a print, yeah, sell prints on Etsy. Though, if it's not your art, be careful. I know this is vintage, so you can sell things regardless of copyright. Just, if you don't own the copyright to something, don't sell it. Unless it's vintage, then you can. Interesting. I just saw a lobster phone and got in and found it interesting. And of course, there's like sculptural wall art, always fun to see. Now, what would looking at expensive Etsy listings be without a digital product? This is a digital piece. The Tree of Life. It is really quite pretty. I do like it. It's very colorful. Digital artworks. And now, I like the print and I like the design. It's LGBTQ plus art, I guess, because it's rainbow. Rainbow doesn't necessarily mean that, but okay. One PNG, does it specify the DPI? It doesn't specify the DPI of the image. See, they show this print small, nice, small, quaint. This is obviously a mock-up. I've used websites to mock up my digital art before. So this is a website that you upload your art, it frames it, puts it in the context for you. And then they have one, and this one's significantly bigger. The problem is, if you're getting one PNG, unless that file is absolutely massive, it's not going to print big the way you think it will. It is a quite nice print. But here's the thing. If you're going to be selling a digital print, you have to price it a little bit lower than you would a not digital print. Like if this was an original painting and it was the size depicted in this mock-up, I can see $1,000 price tag, maybe even more depending on the notoriety of the artist. But this is digital art, which can be suspect. I'm not saying that this is, but a lot of digital art on Etsy nowadays has been made by AI, which is a shame, but it's digital. So for this piece, for a digital download, like $9.99, you'd sell a lot more and you'd get your art out there. And then if you wanted to sell an original painting, you can price it up. But it's just $5,000 for a digital file. And it's just, no thank you. Too much for not enough product. Good art though. I like the art. Oh, here's another. Ooh, I do like this. Starry Night on Mars. All right, so these are 5 digital PNGs, which these are very interesting, very unique. If these are actual like painting on canvas, that's really cool. Now, this again suffers from the digital download fallacy. For this set of paintings, I could probably see $50. Honestly, for the digital copy of these, yeah, they're based off of a famous painting. The composition is really beautiful. I love the bold, splotchy colors contrasted with a dark blue background. These are very aesthetically pleasing. And they give, of course, the standard mock-ups to give context. And honestly, these pieces are beautiful. Like, maybe a set of original paintings, you could probably argue the $30,000 in a gallery if you are a well-notarized artist, but you're not. And honestly, seriously, price these lower and you will get sales. This is gorgeous art. Like, look at these. Like, they're just fantastic. And if these are like scans of an actual thing they're digital art. Are they referring to it as digital, or like they made it digitally? Or is it digital as in they painted it by hand, scanned it, now it's a digital copy? It's hard to tell. I mean, if this was done using digital software and it's not AI, dang, that's good. But not $30,000 good, in my opinion. I just really try to wrap my head around the whole I'm going to sell a digital print for $30,000. I would not be able. I know it's like you hope that you're gonna sell your art and become rich and then you don't have to worry about a thing, but that is not the reality. If you're going to, in my opinion, make your money off your art, you have to start out small. You have to grow a following. You have to improve your skills. This is an example of where there is extreme skill, but the product isn't very marketable in its current state. If they sold it for cheaper, that would be a lot more marketable. If they were original print or the original paintings, then yeah, that the price makes sense. But I just can't wrap my head around it. It is so crazy. And I want to do one more. Let's find one more. Oh, this last page. Okay, so I guess we'll do this one. Stretch canvas. And they only have one listing photo. Classic. New moon on Pisces. So I like the style. Like, it is so hard to draw. It kind of looks like it's colored charcoal. Does it say in the description? It does not specify in the description. So I would work on the anatomy a little bit. This art style is unique. I would recommend making the shoulders wider because it just kind of swoops and it makes the neck. It makes it look like they don't have shoulders, but their neck is really thick. So I'd highly recommend working on that part of the anatomy. The face is not bad. Better than I can probably do. I don't draw people. I am not good at drawing people. And they understand the concept of hair. One thing that a lot of people, like, you'll notice this in a lot of kids' drawings. I'll draw the head and then the hair on top. And it'll just look weird because even, like, look at me. Like, my hair covers, like, a good chunk of my head. So when you draw the head shape, you put the hair, like, as if it's part of your head, not on top of your head, like a hat. So they got that right. And it's very flat. There's not a lot of texture and shading. And it looks like a lot of the texture comes from the medium itself, which I think if they worked with this to blend it in, if this is watercolor or charcoal, you can get some really interesting texture in there just by using the medium to your advantage. Honestly, not bad. I'm being nice, yes, but this is not a $35,000 art piece unless you're an absolutely famous artist and anybody would be dying to get a piece of your art. Then $35,000 is a steal. But for an artist that is just starting out, I'm sorry if you got your hopes up of selling a piece and wanted to sell your art and become or support yourself on your art. This is not the way to do it. Not the best, but don't give up. Everyone has to start somewhere. But seriously, $35,000? At least with this one, you're getting a physical art piece. And a lot of the other ones, you wouldn't be. Like, we looked at, you're just getting a digital file that you have to go and find a way to print yourself. And hopefully the print size matches the DPI of the image. And, what a headache. But yeah, and this one, I highly recommend that they go through and improve their listing photos. Saying the size is helpful for somebody measuring out a spot in their wall, but you could tell me something is 15 inches and I won't be able to visualize what 15 inches looks like. But if you show me what a 15-inch canvas on a wall with some stuff around it, I'll have a better idea of how big it is. So I always recommend when you're selling your art, have at least one photo of the piece to show, of just the piece alone, just to catch the eye, show what it is, and then have a couple photos in different contexts so people can get the scale, the color, they can get a better sense of what it actually is. But yeah, seriously though, they honestly need a reality check and should probably not get their hopes up with selling a $35,000 art piece on Etsy, because that is very unlikely to happen. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Consider doing the thing, liking, subscribing, or watching more videos. I plan on making a lot more content like this in the future. I have a blast looking at some of the art on the internet, some of it delusional, some of it not delusional, and giving my opinions. And thanks again for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one.